Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome in if you are new to my channel. I would love to have you subscribe. Today's video is a battle of the affordable drugstore serum foundations. So I have the Ordinary Serum Foundation and the e.l.f. Foundation Serum today to compare and contrast the two formulas, talk about the pros and cons, and see how they apply with other products in my collection. All right, so I'm gonna do a half and half face today. So I'm gonna have the e.l.f. on one side and the Ordinary on the other, and I'm gonna stick with these two sides throughout the video just to make it a little easier to follow. So before I actually start applying these, I'm gonna talk about some pros and cons of each. Starting with the e.l.f. One of the biggest pros for me here is the availability. So e.l.f. is really easy to find in the United States in particular. It's sold in a lot of different department stores, big box stores like Walmart, a bunch of smaller drugstores as well, online at Ulta and at e.l.f.'s own website, and they frequently run free shipping deals on e.l.f.'s website with no minimum. So super easy to get your hands on this one. The biggest cons of the e.l.f. product for me are the fact that it is half the size of a normal foundation. So this is 0.47 fluid ounces. A standard foundation is 1 fluid ounce. So this is less than half the product, and it's still $8, which is not necessarily super cheap. I'd say it's affordable, but I wouldn't say it's the cheapest foundation out there. However, I am reading this right now, and I thought one of the things I liked about it was that it had SPF in it. And the back does say, apply liberally 15 minutes before sun exposure, reapply every 2 hours. So that implies that it has SPF, but nowhere on this bottle does it say SPF. And so I'm gonna have to double check and put a note down below, but if it does, that is a nice added perk. However, dermatologists and skincare experts really recommend having a full layer of SPF beneath your makeup regardless. So swapping over then to the Ordinary, the pros and cons are kind of flipped for the two of these products. The Ordinary Serum Foundation is a little trickier to find. So in the past, for people in the US, it has only been available on their actual website. However, now they are being sold at Ulta, so you can find it at Ulta, but it does make shade matching a little hard because you can't go in and see this in a store anywhere. COVID or not, any time of the year, you will not be able to find this in stores. So this is 1 full fluid ounce, and it's $6.70 on the Ulta website. So less money and more than twice the product than the e.l.f. one. However, I don't believe this has any SPF in it, at least by US standards. I believe by like EU standards, things are a little different. So it may by EU standards, but by US standards, no SPF in this product. This one, a little easier to get your hands on, but way less product for more money. This one, sometimes trickier to get your hands on, and you can't shade match in a store, but it's a full fluid ounce and it's cheaper. And I've tried out quite a few serum foundations or skin tints in the past, and the best application for me and my skin type has always been to rub it in first with my fingers and then take a dry sponge, not a damp sponge, a dry sponge, and pat it in just to make sure I get all of the kind of fingerprint marks out. So I am going to apply both of these that way. These both say shake before using, so I'm gonna do that. And in the e.l.f. foundation, which I'm doing first, I am in the shade Fair Light. So I'm gonna shake it up. I am going to do like 1 pump on the back of my hand, even though it's probably more than I need for only half of my face. And so that you can get an idea of the texture. And I'm gonna just dot it across half of my face first, and then I will, like I said, rub it in with my fingers first, and then go in with that dry sponge. Okay, this is very sheer, which, in general, I expect that for a serum product. It's, it's not intended to be full coverage or high coverage, but I do think if you're gonna take the time to put on makeup, and particularly a base layer, like a foundation type product, it is beneficial to have at least a little coverage. It's a pretty good shade match. I mean, with a sheer product like this, it's pretty hard to get a bad shade match. Here's kind of the coverage level. You can see it did help with a lot of the redness, like around my nose. I'm pretty impressed with that. It feels, I will say, really really oily. So just because something's a serum doesn't mean that it has to be oily or greasy on your skin. It feels great on my skin because this time of year, it's early November right now, and this time of year, my skin is super dry. So I don't mind the extra oil or moisture on my skin, but just a fair warning for those of you who already have oilier skin and try to avoid those products. So I don't actually feel the need to pat this out too much, and I don't want to lift any of the coverage off. So I'm just gonna barely pat just to make sure there are no fingerprints. Okay, and I have completely wiped my hands off, so I am ready to go in now with the Ordinary. And again, I have shade 2.0N, and I will say this is a little deeper than my e.l.f. one. It's also a little more yellow toned, so we'll see how the shade matches. That's the consistency of this one, so a little drippier, I would say, if that's a technical term. And it seems like this one also pumped out a little more product with one pump, so I'm gonna wipe my hands off quickly. Okay, same technique here. Okay, yeah, you can see right off the bat, the shade is so different, but I'm not gonna say it's not the right shade match. I mean, like, I think it's a little deep on me now, but I think like in the summer, which is kind of more so when I lean towards products like this anyway, this would actually be a super great match. Okay, and then because of my approach here of applying half and half on each side of my face, you cannot really see the Ordinary in comparison to just my natural skin, but you can see the Ordinary in comparison to the e.l.f. And I will say, I think the Ordinary has a significant amount more coverage, and this one feels less oily. I think it feels a little bit more neutral on the oily scale. Here's a little bit more of a close-up for both of them. So the e.l.f. side here, you can see it's a little patchy. It's kind of like clinging to certain parts of my face, which isn't usually an issue for me. The only place I usually have an issue is kind of right here between my brows, and you can see both of them are not doing super great there. But I don't usually have that issue like on my cheeks or like in this area, so that's a little weird for me. And then you can see on this side is the Ordinary. It is settling a little bit into some lines I have already, I see that. But other than that, I think it's looking really nice. Definitely higher coverage if you look at them side by side again. e.l.f., Ordinary. And I think depending on what you're looking for, if you want something that truly is like barely gonna cover your skin, this e.l.f. side might be what you're going for. But again, I caution you with the oiliness. It still feels really oily even after having a little bit of a chance to set down. If you're looking for something that is nice and lightweight, I mean, it feels like I have nothing on either side of my face right now. Absolutely nothing. So if you're looking for something that's still nice and lightweight, but has just that little bit more of coverage, I would say the Ordinary would be a little bit better for you. Or if you have particularly oily skin, because this didn't feel oily at all, and it feels very like dry to the touch now. Okay, and for someone who just wants to wear this to even out their skin tone every day, you may not care so much how other products sit on top of it, but for me, someone who does like to do the rest of my makeup, even when I have something with like coverage like this on my face, it's really important to me how different products sit on top of this foundation. I'm gonna do concealer under my eyes like usual. I don't usually conceal anywhere else on my face, so I'm not going to today either. And then I do usually powder underneath my eyes as well after doing concealer. So I'm gonna do those two steps with two products that I trust wholeheartedly, and everything I'm using will be linked down in the description box. And then just to get a little bit more test out of this, I'm gonna do a cream bronzer and a powder blush. So I'm gonna kind of try a few different formulas on top of each of these, and I will be back when that is done to give you my final thoughts on these products. Okay, and I am back, and you may or may not have already seen the tutorial go up on my channel for this eyeshadow look. I decided to just take advantage of the fact that I had my complexion done and do something fun. So if it's already up, I will go ahead and link it down below and up here. But anyway, back to the two foundations. As I said, I tested these out with concealer, powder, a bronzer that is a cream, and a powder blush. So the good news is I really think that both the e.l.f. side, this side over here, and the ordinary side look completely great with both powder and cream products on top of them. Everything blended out just fine. The only note that I have, and for me, it's kind of a pretty big deal breaker, or not a deal breaker, I shouldn't say, but it's going to make me reach for one over the other for sure. When I was doing the e.l.f. side, because there was so little coverage on that side, I actually ended up deciding to go in with 2 layers of concealer. And that has never happened to me before. I've never felt the need to do that with any foundation I've owned, including other serum foundations or like tinted moisturizer type products. So the fact that to get them even remotely close to the same level of coverage, I had to go in with 2 layers of concealer is a little frustrating, and it does mean that I probably won't reach for this product as much, even on a super casual makeup day, because then it means I have to do one of my makeup steps twice just to have it look how I want. And you can see now too, like there still is a lot more darkness on this side than this side. That being said, I really think they both look beautiful. I don't necessarily think you could go wrong with either. If you're looking for that easy, quick access, e.l.f. is gonna be probably the best way to go for most people. But if you're looking for a little bit more coverage and a better bang for your buck, I would stick it out and try to order your correct shade online at Ulta of the Ordinary foundation. So I hope this review was helpful for you. These 2 products have been on my wish list for a long time, and I was really excited to finally receive them both and have a chance to review them. If you like this type of video, please consider commenting down below, liking this video, and subscribing to my channel so that you will get notifications when I upload more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.